Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One, and I am back with another video. Now, I told you guys this last week, but breaking news. Gordon Hayward signed with the Boston Celtics. Surprise, surprise. Who would have knew? Who would have thunk it? Now, a lot of people in my comment section last week was talking this, that, and the third. I guess they were Utah Jazz fans saying, oh, well, they're not going to get Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward would just naturally go back to Utah, okay? Why would he want to go to the Boston Celtics? That's what everybody was saying in the comment section last week. And I told you guys last week this was going to happen, all right? So, you know, I hate to be right, but I'm right. Okay, let's talk about this deal internal. What does this mean for Gordon Hayward? What does this mean for the Boston Celtics? What does this mean for the East? And what does this mean for the Utah Jazz? All right. What does this mean for Gordon Hayward? He's another piece in the cog of the Boston Celtics. Okay. He's a good player. I don't think he's better than Paul George. I don't think he's better than Kevin Durant. But he's a close third or fourth, particularly if you struck out on Paul George. And you're not going to get Carmelo Anthony. He's way better than Carmelo Anthony. Let's just go ahead and set the record straight on that. But if you're not in that sweepstakes, the logical move to make is to sign Gordon Hayward. Now, Gordon Hayward was going to go to the Boston Celtics anywho, because of the simple standpoint of his relationship with Brad Stevenson. Now, he used to play under Brad Stevenson back in the college basketball, and they had a great relationship with one another, all right? Particularly with Isaiah Thomas. Gordon Hayward has a great friendship with Isaiah Thomas, and when that's pulling on your heartstrings, and then plus the fact that as a basketball decision, as a basketball move, this is the better play to make versus going back to the Utah Jazz. Now, what does this mean for the Boston Celtics? I don't think this move puts them on top of the Cleveland Cavaliers, all right? I still think they need a couple of more pieces before we go far as saying that, but it clearly makes them the second best team in the East, all right? Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, yo, Chris, hold up. Well, wait a minute. All right, flag on the play. They did win the East over the Cleveland Cavaliers, but you guys have to understand that was more of the tune of the Cleveland Cavaliers were resting their players, and they really didn't care about grabbing the #1 spot like the Boston Celtics did. And even though the Boston Celtics grabbed the #1 spot in the East, what ultimately that did for the Boston Celtics, they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers anyway, all right? So this makes them the second best team in the East. The Cleveland Cavaliers are clearly the best team, okay? And if the Cleveland Cavaliers are if something happened injury-wise to their roster, or players are not committed to play as hard to contend for an NBA championship next year, or the drama between Dan Gilbert and LeBron James becomes too much, particularly in the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, if all of that is plaguing the Cleveland Cavaliers, then you may have a scenario where it's a possibility that the Boston Celtics can dethrone the Cleveland Cavaliers, all right? I still don't think this move makes them better than the Golden State Warriors, but like I said earlier, we're going to have to wait and see what other trades they're going to make, what other pieces they're going to sign, okay? Now, what does this mean for the Utah Jazz? Clearly, the Utah Jazz are in rebuilding mode, all right? To me, they shouldn't be trying to attract the next round, the next level of free agents. I think they should just be in rebuilding mode. Take a page from the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. Trust the process and just draft players that want to be committed with the Utah Jazz organization and the city of Utah. Now, I stated last week that the Utah Jazz are going to have a tough time re-signing their players because it's a small market town. It's not a very attractive town. Even though I've been to Utah, it's a great, great city. But when you're talking about NBA players, it's not a very attractive city, okay? So they're going to have to draft players that are willing to stay committed to the Utah Jazz, all right? What does this mean for them in the West? The same status quo. Even if they had Gordon Hayward, that still wouldn't have been enough to dethrone or compete for a playoff spot or to beat the Golden State Warriors, all right? Ultimately, when I talk to you guys on these videos and I tell you guys the truth about what does this mean for the team, all of these, you know, these moves recently, when you're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Boston Celtics, even the Cleveland Cavaliers re-signing Kyle Korver, that was pretty big. Oh shoot, I forgot his name, point guard. Chris Paul, he voted from the Los Angeles Lakers to the Houston Rockets, and the Clippers re-signed Blake Griffin, and they also added another piece last night, and I can't. Gallinari, he used to be a small forward for the Denver Nuggets. Now he's going to the Clippers. All of these moves, to me, is still not enough to overtake and dethrone the Golden State Warriors. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys, I'm going to be first on the record to tell you guys, do not be surprised if the Golden State Warriors win yet again. All right? You know, unless somebody, some GM, some organization makes a significant move that clearly, and it has to come from Cleveland, all right, or the Spurs, make a move that, you know, clearly makes the team not only better, but to dethrone the Golden State Warriors, which I don't think there's a move or a play right now to do that, unless there's another organization that's trying to compete against the Golden State Warriors and they're saying, yo, okay, like the Oklahoma City Thunder, they might change their mind and change their tune. I'm just using this hypothetically. They say, you know what? The writing's on the wall. The Golden State Warriors are going to win. There's nothing we can do. Let's just trade away Russell Westbrook and our new acquisition, Paul George, to the Cleveland Cavaliers. If some type of scenario presents itself in that situation, then we can have a discussion on, does that move overtake and dethrone the Golden State Warriors? But all of these moves are making the teams better. They're making lesser teams that have never been in the playoffs have an opportunity to go to the playoffs. But when you think about it overall, internally, none of these moves are going to translate in dethroning the Golden State Warriors, because the Golden State Warriors stayed packed. All right, not only they got Kevin Durant to a 2-year extension, and I'm pretty sure the organization of the Golden State Warriors saying, look, Kevin Durant, we're going to take care of you, wink wink, 2 years from now we're going to sign you to a $200 million extension. All right, so they already done made their move on Kevin Durant. They're going to sign him for the future. And Iguodala, I think the Spurs should have offered a little bit more to somehow, some way pulled him away from the Golden State Warriors, particularly Sean Livingston. I don't think a lot of teams really tried that hard and overpaid to get him away from the Golden State Warriors. And that would, if those two moves never happened, and let's just say Andre Iguodala left the Golden State Warriors, so as Sean Livingston, when they can't say, look, that's a lot of money to say no to. If there was a situation like that, a scenario like that, then this would be totally different, all right? But as of right now, it is what it is, all right? The sun is in my eye, and there's nothing I can do about that. Nothing I can do about that. So basically, and there's another here's another little nugget for you guys. Derrick Rose is going to go to the Clippers to see whether or not the Clippers are interested in him, and I know he's definitely interested. He knows for a fact, since Chris Paul is gone, there's an open spot for the point guard position, and if the Clippers sign Rose, then you have Rose and Patrick Beverley, and we have to go from there. All right, but are we going to get the same Rose, the MVP Rose back in the day in Chi-Town? We're going to have to wait and see on how that plays out during the NBA season. All right, so that's what's pretty much been going on thus far. To me, there's really no big time moves out there, particularly for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know the Carmelo Anthony trade is a possibility for the Cleveland Cavaliers as well as the Houston Rockets. I feel like in my gut, Carmelo Anthony is probably going to wind up with the Houston Rockets, because the Houston Rockets can offer more than what the Cleveland Cavaliers can do. And not to mention, when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're in a distrust right now between Dan Gilbert and LeBron James. LeBron James is not going to commit to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's just going to ride out his contract, and then he's going to look for other options out there, because LeBron James sees the writing on the wall. There's really nothing you can do with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're pretty much stuck in this position, and the only way they can get out of this position, if somehow there's a team out there that wants Kevin Love, wants Iman Shumpert, wants Christian Thompson, and they can get this huge mega deal where they release, they give away these guys, and in return they can replenish not only the offensive roster but also their depth in their bench. Okay, and there's no play out there for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and not to mention the fact a lot of NBA agents as well as NBA players, they're not really committed to LeBron James, because they see LeBron James is only going to be committed for this year. So why would a player in pretty much in their prime is willing to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron James is not even committed about that himself? Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that and how I feel about that. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Please, notification gang in the building. Hit that notification bell, that notification icon, so you'll know when my next video or live stream is going down. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One, and I am out. Bam!